Welcome, what's going on? Welcome to the Green of Thrones Knicks Talk post game. I'm your host, Go Green. To all my live streamers, please subscribe to the YouTube channel, GoGoGadget Green on YouTube. Once again, that is GoGoGadget Green. To all my channel subscribers, please join us at the Green of Thrones NYC Sports on Facebook. Oh, excuse me. So you know how I usually do this. Go back and forth with my live streamers, excuse me, while actually recording for my YouTube channel. I usually don't go post game. I usually do pre-game or the day after. But I got a little excited after the Knicks got their first back-to-back victory since November. First back-to-back victory since November. So that in itself deserved for us to go live. The Knicks shot 7 for 24 from three-point range, so nothing special there. Orlando was 11 for 32. But what's good, brother? What's good? We got Silas here with us. Silas becoming a regular, so I appreciate that. I thought a big stat for tonight that stood out to me, that Alan Hahn and Wally Zerbiak. I couldn't remember Wally Zerbiak's name last night to save my life. The Knicks bench outscored the Magic bench 75-70. If I'm not mistaken, the Knicks scored 30 points. No, not if I'm not mistaken. The Knicks scored 30 points in the fourth quarter, and all 30 of those points were scored by the Knicks bench. Yeah, it's up on the screen now. 75-7. That's just, you talk about an unusual stat. The Knicks also outscored Orlando in fast break points, 12-5. You know, and a lot of these stats that the Knicks outscored Orlando in points in the paint, 52-46. You would think with Orlando having a all-star big man, we would never win in the paint battle. The Knicks had more steals, 11-6. Both teams had 7 blocks. Mitch Robinson made some noise in the newspaper. He was letting everyone know that if he played starters minutes, he could average 6 blocks per game. He comes out and does what? Average 6 blocks. The Knicks won the second chance points battle by 1 point, 12-11. Orlando had a 16-point lead. The Knicks had a 6-point lead. That was their biggest lead. Orlando also had a 15-point lead. So the Knicks came back from 15, cut it to about 2, then went down by 16 when they finally took the lead. So, you know, when you talk about tanking and the coaching and pushing the right buttons, you know, there was a moment out in the fourth quarter where the Knicks had Emmanuel Mudiay, Mitchell Robinson, Ellenson, the new player, Trier, and Jenkins out on the court. And at one point, Cornette was out there. So Fizdale did exactly what he needed to do to win tonight. So he definitely wasn't trying to tank this game or the last one. But let's go through the matchup before we get into the individual stats. So Orlando outscored New York 34-20 in the first quarter. The Knicks outscored the Magic 36-27 in the second quarter. The Magic come back to outscore the Knicks 29-22 in the third quarter. And then the Knicks outscored them 30-13 in the fourth. Silas says, our bench outscoring the starters will soon be the norm, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Nah, it really isn't, because you see that a lot on teams that are up and coming. Sometimes you even see it on established teams where, you know, Popovich is known to do it. You've seen other coaches do it where they just bench all the starters and bring the role players in or the bench players in, and the bench players come in kind of, you know, the bench players, right? They're not the most talented unit unless you got like a guy like Lou Williams on your bench. You know, these guys tend to stick to the fundamentals and play really hard, play really fundamentally sound basketball. So I don't disagree with that. And the Knicks' new batch of bench players, you got hungry guys with something to prove. Remember, some Ellenson, Jenkins, even the likes of Dennis Smith Jr., and now Moutier has lost his spot to Dennis Smith Jr., and he's playing hard off the bench. You just got a lot of guys fighting for a lot. But before we get into that, let's just go back through the matchup numbers. So the Orlando Magic had 2 players tied for 26. Emmanuel Moutier led the Knicks with 19 points off the bench. Vujacic had 11 rebounds. Mitchell Robinson followed up his 15-rebound performance with 14 rebounds. Once again, against an all-star center. I think that I can't point that out enough. Like, he's talking about what he could do with starters minutes. He comes back out, does it, and scores another double-double. And then Fournier led the Magic with 8 assists. And Ellenson led the Knicks with 5 assists. The Knicks out-rebounded the Magic 51-47. Also out-rebounded them on the offensive boards 14-12. And on the defensive board 37-35. The Magic out-assisted the Knicks 26-17. The Magic had 26 assists on 16 turnovers. The Knicks, I said this yesterday, the Knicks have been a low turnover team this season. They only had 10 turnovers tonight on 17 assists with 11 steals and 7 blocks. The Magic also has 7 blocks with 6 steals. The Knicks shot 42% from the field, only 29% from three-point range, and were still able to get the victory. The Magic shot 43% from field goal range and 34% from three-point range. The Knicks shot almost 80% from the free throw line. The Magic at 70%. So let's go to the box score. Yo, what's going on, Al? Al is another one of our regulars. So let's go to the box score and check out, so while I'm watching this game, especially in the fourth quarter, the crowd was so into the game, and maybe I shouldn't be surprised at it because look at me. I sat here and I was very much into the game. I've been into the games all season. This team is not giving up. Fizdale, no matter what group of players he plays, they have not given up in a game all season. I mean, there's been a couple. I remember one game against the Bucks early in the year where it feels like we didn't show up. But just the fact that this late in the season on a team that's only won 12 games or 13, whatever it is, the fact that you can still remember the times where they didn't play well or not so much that they didn't play well because they haven't played well this season, but where the effort wasn't there or the heart wasn't there or, just the tuning out the coaching staff. I just haven't got a sense of that. And with, new guys on the team, and guys playing different roles, I thought it was I think it's a testament to the coaching staff, and no matter who they put out there, these guys are listening. People feel like if you come to the Knicks, you're gonna get a shot to play. Ellison is another former first-round pick. I believe he was a top 15 pick, maybe by the Detroit Pistons, if I'm not mistaken. But They moved on from Stan Van Gundy, got a new front office in there, chose to move on from this guy who was playing behind Tobias Harris and Blake Griffin. So you're going to have to be really good to get minutes behind those guys. But let's look at his stat line tonight. So Ellison came off the bench to play 36 minutes, which I believe is his career high in the NBA. He had 13 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, was 5 for 11 from the field to shoot 45% field goal percentage. He shot 3 for 6 from three-point range, which was 50% percentage. He had 9 defensive rebounds and only 1 turnover, so that's 5 assists with only 1 turnover, and he was a plus 18. Those type of numbers from a guy that is 6'11", he's about 6'10", 6'11". I'm not familiar with his game, so tonight was very nice to see what he could do. He can handle the basketball. He looks like he plays smart team ball, high IQ. He doesn't do anything great, but he's a good shooter, good ball handler, good motor, and looks like a good player to be on our bench to get a second 10-day contract. And the reason I'm harping on this guy and anybody else like him that we can, like maybe Jenkins could be another one, And Dotson clearly is another guy that is a second-round pick, unheralded out of college. Well, some of these other guys actually were heralded out of college. But I'm just saying guys that can stick with, that have a lot of value, have some talent, and won't cost you a lot. I'm harping on these type of guys like Ellison, because if the Knicks get their wish and they are able to sign major free agents this summer or use all their max money, they're going to need to fill out the roster with veteran minimum type of deals. And it's guys like Ellison and guys like Dotson, guys like Jenkins, Cornette. These are the type of guys that the Knicks may need to fill out their roster with. And to see these type of players perform well against teams that are in the playoffs or trying to get into the playoffs. I mean, the Orlando Magic are in the 9th spot in the East, but they are within striking range to the 7th spot in the Eastern Conference. So they're not just playing to get into the 8th. They could actually move as high up to 7th. So the Knicks play major spoilers tonight. So let's go down the so the starters, let's go down to the box score here. The starters did not play well most of the game. Kevin Knox had 8 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. He was coming off a double-double game. He shot 3 for 16, just couldn't get it going. He was also a minus 18. Lance Thomas, you don't expect much there. After his all-world game against the Spurs, I didn't expect too much there. And he played just under 15 minutes, only had 3 points, 2 rebounds. Noah Vonleh started in place of DeAndre Jordan. He played just under 11 minutes, had 7 points and 3 rebounds, but really wasn't a factor. And I'm happy to see that Fizdale is not glued to playing Vonleh. It seems like the better the talent gets on the Knicks, the more he kind of shrinks and disappears. He's not hitting the three-pointer. He's just not really a factor out there, in my opinion. Who we got next here? Damian Dotson started, only played just under 17 minutes, only had 6 points, 2 rebounds, shot 2 of 7 from the field, and 1 for 4 from three-point range. It was a minus 14. And Dennis Smith Jr. played just under 22 minutes with 9 points, 2 rebounds, 3 assists, shot 3 of 10 from the field, 1 for 3 from three-point range, and a minus 16. So the entire starting 5 in the plus-minus were all a minus, with Noah Vonleh having the best plus-minus at a minus 9. Now we go to the bench. As I stated before, the bench outscored Orlando's bench 75-7. So not only did the bench come in and score points, they also came in and played good defense against their counterparts. So let's go through the bench lineup. So Moutier, 31 minutes, 19 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. He was 8 of 18 from the field for 44% and shot 0 of 3 from three-point range, but he was a plus 23. Mitchell Robinson, 32 points. So he follows up his 14-point. What up, Bomani? Bomani just threw that out there about Mitch, Money Mitch. 32 minutes, 17 points, 14 rebounds, 3 steals, 6 blocks. He was 6 of 9 from the field for 66%, 5 of 6 on his free throws, and he was a plus 5. Only 3 fouls, which is cool. And he also started in the second half. So I just want to point out, the kid said, if I play starters minutes, I can average 6 blocks a game. Historically, just to put that in context, historically, I think Mark Eaton is the only center in the NBA to average over 5, and I believe he averaged about 5.56 blocks per game. But Mitchell Robinson is the only rookie since blocks started being counted as an official statistic back in the early 70s, I believe. He's the only rookie to record back-to-back 5 or more block games, 5 or more blocks in back-to-back games. So let's keep an eye on that. Mitchell Robinson says, if I play starters minutes And, I don't get in foul trouble. I can average 6 blocks a game. He's potentially a more dynamic shot blocker than Dikembe Mutombo. I'm not saying he is Mutombo. Let me rephrase that. He can potentially be a more dynamic shot blocker than Dikembe Mutombo simply because he's blocking jump shots. I talked about this yesterday. The fact that he's blocking jump shots without picking up a bunch of fouls, I think that is a special in itself. And the Knicks definitely have a gem here with this kid. Mitchell Robinson. Ellenson played 36 minutes. I went through his stat line, 13 points, 9 rebounds, 5 assists, and 2 steals. Trier had an excellent fourth quarter, didn't play a lot of minutes, had 18 points in 21 minutes, also 5 rebounds, 2 assists with 3 steals, 4 or 5 from the field, 9 of 10 from the free throw line, and 1 of 1 from three-point range, and he was a plus 21. Even Jenkins played 23 minutes, had 8 points, 1 rebound. He was 3 of 5 from the field. He didn't hit his threes, but he was also a plus 24. And then Cornette even came in for 5 minutes and helped stabilize the defense a bit in there. You had him and Ellison in there, 2 kind of mobile 7-footers willing to get in the way to make things interesting for the offense. So yeah, it was a good effort. Like I said, I'm excited more so that these guys have been losing all year. You got a couple of 10-day contract guys on the team, couple new guys from trades, guys that haven't really played together. And the Knicks had, a kind of mix and match, patchwork kind of crew out there in the fourth quarter against an Orlando team with a all-star center that was playing well. Aaron Gordon played well, and we found a way to win the game. And Mitch Robinson was a player. I mean, it was a major factor. To hear the crowd chant defense like it was the 90s, and I'm not exaggerating. That's exactly what happened. The crowd was hostile. It messed up Orlando. Guys like Evan Fournier and Vujicic, these guys been killing the Knicks all season. Matter of fact, Orlando's one of the teams that's been blowing the Knicks out this season when we played them. So to see the Knicks say, you know what, we're going to get this one, we're going to play hard and make it happen, I thought it was pretty interesting. Let's see what the people are talking about here. Silas says he watched Ellison at Marquette. What you saw tonight was no fluke. He was a victim of the numbers game in Detroit. That's a great point. As I said before, he was playing behind Blake Griffin and Tobias Harris before the trade, of course. And then there was a change of regime there. Stan Ellison was more a Van Gundy guy. The new regime came in. He didn't play as much. Good problem for the Knicks to have. The Knicks scouts got to get a raise. That's what Bomani says. Well, we'll see, man. We'll see. It looks good so far. Bomani says, I think Frank Nitti going to have to develop a jump or he's going back to the EuroLeague. Well, the good thing with Frank Ntilikina is that he can develop without pressure now. There's no pressure on Frank Ntilikina to do anything but work on becoming a good defender. I said this yesterday. He should be a 3-and-D player. Work on his jump shot, like you said, and improve his defense. That's all Frank Ntilikina has to do is become a versatile defender that can guard 3 positions and knock down a 3, especially from the corners, and he'll be fine. I don't think he any longer has any pressure on him to be this creative offensive player, especially with Dennis Smith Jr. and Moutier kind of solidifying the point guard spot. And you know what? Speaking to that point guard spot, I'm glad to see Moutier playing as well as he did because he's going to keep some pressure on Dennis Smith Jr., I'll tell you that. So, so on the live stream, they're just going back and forth about Frank Ntilikina. Let me tell you why Frank Ntilikina has value. They're talking about Frank Ntilikina having value around the league. The reason Frank Ntilikina has value around the league is because he's on his rookie deal. He's a lottery pick on his rookie deal, and he's only going to be 2 seasons into that deal playing on one of the worst teams in the NBA. Frank Ntilikina could very well go somewhere else and be a decent player and he would immediately not have the pressure of being a eighth pick, a top 10 pick in the draft. So, you know, as long as the Knicks have these other guards, Frank Ntilikina is in a unique spot to just be a versatile defender at three positions on the wing. And if he does that, he'll play wherever he's at. And maybe some of the pressure will come off him now when he comes into the game. But if he can't knock down that shot, it's going to be tough. With the Knicks got so many tall wing players that can shoot now. But yeah, Moutier's balling. Let's just go through, in fairness to the Orlando box score. I wanted to point out, you know, I said Vujacic is an all-star, and Mitch Robinson, as I said, had, you know, 17 points and 14 rebounds against this all-star. And it wasn't like Vujacic didn't play well. Vujacic played 34 minutes, had 26 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 1 steal, 3 blocks, was 12 of 19 from the field for 63% from the field. He shot 2 of 2 from three-point range, had 4 offensive rebounds, 7 defensive rebounds. It was a +6. So Vujacic was balling. You know, their all-star center was balling, and here's young Mitch Robinson, inexperienced project, looking like the steal of the draft again. And then, what's the other guy's name? Where is he at? Gordon. Aaron Gordon had 26 points. So Aaron Gordon and Vujacic both had 26 points. Aaron Gordon also had 7 rebounds, 2 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. He was 8 for 16 from the field for 50%, 9 of 12 from the free throw line, and hit 1 out of his 3 three-pointers. He was a -8, but, you know, their 2 best players played well. And then the kid Isaac had another 16 points with 6 rebounds, knocked down some three-pointers, was 4 or 6 from three-point range. So their starters played well. Their starters completely outplayed our starters. But then our bench players came in and outplayed their starters when it counted and outplayed their bench thoroughly throughout the game. And I will end this on, I would think the game ball goes to the Knicks bench. As I said, the Knicks bench came in and outplayed the Magic starters in the fourth quarter, but also thoroughly outplayed the Orlando Magic's bench throughout the game and outscoring them 75-7. So yeah, and you know, it was just to hear the Garden so excited and fun. It just makes you look to the future, and you hope that next season things could start to improve with or without any major free agents. It's just good to see Fizdale knowing how to push the buttons on these hungry players that feel they have something to prove. And being that the Knicks have dreams of filling out their max contracts in the summer, some of these type of players would be the type of guys you need to fill out a roster. It would be great to have them come back with value with these other players. No doubt about it, Mitchell Robinson would be a top 3 pick if he was coming out this year. There is no doubt about it. Imagine Mitchell Robinson in college right now, especially if he had a point guard. And think about all the other things the coach would allow him to do. So, yo, thank y'all for tuning in. We're just past the half an hour mark, so I'm gonna shut it down. Once again, if you are not a subscriber on the live stream, please go to YouTube and subscribe. GoGoGadget Green. That is GoGoGadget Green on YouTube. And to my subscribers on YouTube, please come to Facebook and join us at the Green of Thrones NYC Sports. We had Knicks talk tonight. The Knicks won 2 games in a row. First time since November, so we enjoyed that. Everybody have a good night. I'm your host, Go Green, and as always, thank you for joining us. Peace. We out. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. Go Knicks.